Our job is to put an ass every 18 inches in the stands.
Listen, I can't not ask this. Who the fuck said his ass is too big?
Hunter.
Oh my God.
Too big. He's got this wasn't it's all about the workout shit, man. And how he looked in an 8x10 or whatever. He's not going to look the same because he's not the same. And if all you're going to do is put out androids all look alike, then what the hell you got? You got no uniqueness. You got no individuality. So that was the whole deal. I think that the consensus was this guy may not be in great shape because he looks soft. And I'm saying that his softness, as far as his ass was concerned, or his ass issue, which is a non-issue in my view, was basically based on the fact that the perception was he had a oversized soft ass. Silly as it sounds, it's so absurd it doesn't make any sense. And I swear to God, folks, I'm not making this up. But that was the whole deal. And finally, through hell and high water, he plowed through this bullshit and became the star that he is. And really, he had a Hall of Fame level career there. There's no doubt about that. Will he ever be in the Hall of Fame? I wouldn't want to bet on that one. And I'm not so sure he would even accept it if it was offered.
It's so weird that we're even having conversations like that. But I mean, I guess that's wrestling.
It's show business, Conrad. It's goddamn show business. And it's unfair to anybody that's being persecuted in that regard. It's not fair. It's being like a bully because you can. You got the stroke. It's not good. And I just don't like that, the singling people out in that regard, especially somebody that can go, and Punk could go.
So after he loses the world title, he has to figure out what's next. And what's next is he's going to team with his old pal Kofi Kingston. They're going to beat Cody Rhodes and Ted DiBiase and become world tag team champions. That doesn't last too terribly long, but eventually he gets a shot at the Intercontinental title. He's successful there. He becomes a Grand Slam winner as a result. And I mean, I guess, from a historical standpoint, that's kind of cool. But he really starts to make headway at the next WrestleMania when he wins the Money in the Bank ladder match again. He's the first person to win that match twice. And not too terribly long after this, he's going to cash in to defeat Jeff Hardy to win the world championship right after Hardy had beaten Edge in a ladder match. So that happens on June 7th. And now all of a sudden we're trying it again. When you see that we're essentially doing a repeat of the old storyline, Edge is involved in a world title match. Punk has just won the Money in the Bank. I mean, and now Punk's going to cash in and win the belt. It is an exact retread. Did you have higher hopes this time? Did you think maybe this one may go a little better than the first one?
It is all going to depend about the politics of the whole scenario. And anytime we talk about CM Punk's career in WWE or wherever it may be, you got to talk about politics because that's what he was the victim of. And I'm not going to say it was we put all of it on WWE because generally when you have that sort of conflict, interpersonal conflict, it takes two to tango to some degree. But I think all in all, Punk was an overt victim of unfortunate, ill-timed politics in his run at WWE. And in spite of all that, in spite of all those pushbacks, look at the run he had. That shows you how good he really was. And I think the original, to do that angle over, somebody said, well, that was going to work. People love the guy, and he got a great pop. He gets a great reaction. He's selling lots of merchandise, blah, blah, blah. All the measurables are there. And maybe smoother heads prevailed. I think that even the people that didn't like him probably started seeing the quality of his matches. And the other thing is that when Undertaker was very happy to work with Punk and to have their program, and they had some really significant matches, that told me all I needed to know about Hayes' comment about a lot of the older talents didn't like the way he treated the belt or whatever it may be. I don't know what the hell that means. You mean allowing the talents to walk out of with the belt around their shoulder or around their neck?
Oh, no. I don't think he means that. I think the idea was that he wasn't, what they perceived a champion should be. Like maybe
based on what? His look?
it gotta be, right. It's gotta to be his look or his presentation or his demeanor, or I don't know. It's just weird that so many people are so sort of polarized by him, but he winds up flip-flopping the world title a little bit here with Jeff Hardy. We just covered what happened at the end of SummerSlam 2009. Of course, Jeff Hardy's going to leave for some greener pastures. Punk is going to win the belt back here, only to be attacked by The Undertaker. And he's going to immediately do a loser leaves the company match with Jeff Hardy. Somewhere in here, by the way, they had a really cool little piece of business that I don't think a lot of people talk about very much. But we had CM Punk dress up like Jeff Hardy. So he's coming out dressed like Jeff Hardy and dancing like Jeff Hardy and playing Jeff Hardy's music. And it looks and feels like Jeff Hardy, but it's actually CM Punk. And I think that feud, while it may not have been one that people still talk about to this day, is probably a little underrated. I really enjoyed Jeff Hardy and Matt Hardy together, or Jeff and CM Punk here together.
Yeah, good chemistry. They got along well. They fit. It was a social fit, and I say that, and not with tongue in cheek, but Jeff Hardy was also kind of an outcast, and a lot of that was because of the perception that Jeff had created for himself of not always making the greatest decisions, et cetera, et cetera. But the irony of that deal too is that unlike Punk, it was very difficult to ever not like Jeff. Jeff was very likable, and he felt empathy for him for some of the struggles that he had, but no one could ever discount Jeff's ability in the ring. I love the Hardy Boy tag team, but in all due respect to Matt, who should be a great booker someday or a administrator, Jeff was easy to like. CM Punk, personality-wise, not so much. There was a difference there. But boy, when they got in the ring, they came together, those diverse personalities, and made some great music. Some of the more fun matches we had during that era was involving Hardy and Punk.
I want to talk about the Undertaker feud, because he's going to feud with the Undertaker next. He's going to have some pay-per-view matches with him. He's going to do everything he can to cheat, and he picks up a win. And then they come back and set it up in a Hell in a Cell match, which I think has flown below the radar a little bit. And the Undertaker is successful, tries a couple of different repeat opportunities, not successful. And then he decides to take a more sinister direction, and he starts, I don't know, he becomes like a cult-like leader with the Straight Edge Society. He recruits Luke Gallows, and he's going to grow his hair out, and he's going to grow his beard out, and he's going to try to have some planted members of the audience, and he's going to convert them to a straight edge lifestyle, and they're going to take a pledge of allegiance to him by shaving their head as a sign of renewal and devotion. This is some good stuff, and it I don't think anything like this had been done in wrestling, so I don't know why this wasn't a bigger part of the presentation, but I think this idea and concept is really, really good.
Me too. And the reason it didn't get any more publicity and better positioning was because it surrounded Punk. And again, Punk was a polarizing figure in the front office. This has been well documented. I thought that, I remember there when they shaved the head of Serena Deep. She's by the way, she's really, really talented. I think she's working with WWE. I think last I heard she was working with WWE as a coach. Really talented. Had a great life story, and how she's resurrected her personal life and her professional career as well. So they did good. And then, that was a big break for Gallows, who's now, he's involved with the not Bullet Club, but the club, and with AJ and Carl Anderson and so forth. But that gave Gallows a pulse.
Hey, it's Conrad Thompson. Thanks for checking out the podcast here on YouTube. Be sure to hit the subscribe button and the notifications bell so you get a notice anytime we upload some new content. And go save yourself some money right now. If you're in a 30-year loan or you have credit card debt, it's not a matter of if I can save you money, it's a matter of how much. Find out right now for free at SaveWithConrad.com.